This show is brought to you by PivX, private instant verified transactions. With its groundbreaking zero coin staking and masternodes, PivX is the top privacy currency. Feel free to trade some on Binance or Bittrex, and for more information, go to www.pivx.org. Welcome to Token TV Plus with me, Tom White, and Crypto C, as ever, is alongside me. We've got loads going on in the next few weeks. We've got interview after interview after interview, and this one is one I'm particularly looking forward to because we've got Douglas Broughton, aka Brought, on the show with us today. Douglas, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Very well indeed. All the better for hearing from you. What we always do, Douglas, is ask our guests just to explain a little bit about your background and how you got into crypto.
Well, it was a long road. I grew up on a small farm in Missouri, in the middle of nowhere, and I went to school in Memphis, Tennessee, for mechanical engineering, almost Catholic religious order. Then I met my wife, and that changed that really fast, which is, I'm glad. We've been married for 20 years now. I've got 3 children, 2 boys who are starting to teach to drive. I've got a 11-year-old daughter who thinks she's also 16.
Yeah.
I worked for a really large corporation for about 16 years, manager there for 10 in operations. Then I left. I started pursuing more of my technical pursuits. The last thing I was doing was designing elevator drive systems, but this whole time I've been working on sustainable projects, designing them. First it was electromagnetic drive units, then I went into hydrogen production, moved into ethanol, and then I really got deep into algae production for biodiesel and then for food. That's one of my pet projects right now, is growing spirulina in unused industrial spaces. So that's kind of a lot, I know. As far as crypto,
why? Yeah, I was going to say, like, is that all to do with crypto? Is that before you got into crypto?
That's all before I got into crypto. That's just the long road to where I am now. Just as a person, I can't help but design things. That's what I do all day. I see something and I just start trying to think of a better way it could be done. And that's kind of where I was at with cryptocurrency. Really liked it, really loved the movement. Did not like a lot of the architecture, the consensus protocol, and it wasn't until proof of stake came along that I really started taking it seriously, just because of the sustainability aspects of it. I don't know, if you're familiar with, just the energy usage that a proof of work coin can consume, but it's really night and day difference once you start with one of these more streamlined consensus protocols. So I was actually designing my own currency, and it was based on proof of carrying and actual real world scenarios, and for the consensus protocol, and I came upon proof of stake, and then I came upon PivX, and it seemed like they already had a lot of the pieces that I was looking for, from a sustainability standpoint and from a community standpoint. And it was that I really got involved in the Discord and what was going on there. And it I moved away from my original project and started going deeper with them.
So it sounds like you see something and immediately want to make it better. How has that been received in the crypto world as opposed to the world outside of crypto?
Oh, so much better. There's always in the real world, there's always a pushback against status quo.
I suppose there's always a fear of change as well.
Definitely. And in the crypto space, it's right now, if you have an idea, if it's solid, then there's going to be at least a few people who are willing to come beside you and start exploring it. And that's a really good feeling.
Yeah, so there's obviously like a lot of good things there about working in crypto, like you've just explained. Are there any drawbacks to it?
I guess the volatility at the moment, and the not knowing where, where it's going, from a standpoint of the essential traditional crypto movement, because a lot of it is based on market at the moment, and it should be based on use, and it's just there's an uncertainty there. And then the other issue I have is there's a technical barrier that exists, and it's keeping a lot of people away from the space, from the movement, because without a lot of research, without a lot of work, it's difficult for a regular person to just come in and start using cryptocurrency or figure out what's taking place.
That's actually definitely something that I've found. I'm glad you mentioned that. And actually, just just changing the subject slightly in crypto. See, this might be for both of you. I mean, in terms of, like you said, we don't really know what the future of cryptocurrency will be. I mean, this week, 4 out of the last 4 days, on the radio in the way into work, I've been listening to a financial expert who's on one of the national radio stations over here in Britain, and he has talked about the Bitcoin value dropping so dramatically since what it was just before Christmas. Is that something that?
Well, it's worse than worrying. It's a bit of a hindrance, because if you don't know the actual value of the currency that you've got in relation to the outside world, it's almost impossible to use it. So the problem we've got at the moment is, if you had £1,000 worth of value stored in crypto before Christmas, you've got maybe £400 now, and that's making it very difficult to plan things ahead of time without moving your money from crypto into fiat, which is a lot more stable. So for me personally, it's a lot more than a worry. It's actually a massive issue. It's actually a big problem.
Okay. And Douglas, just on that, I mean, can you see any reason why the price has gone down so much? And do you agree with Crypto C that it's more than a worry?
It's a worry for the future of use. If it's not stable, there can be cryptocurrencies that are used as assets, like gold is used as an asset. So Bitcoin could become a gold, standard, so to speak. But if I don't know what the value of what I have is going to be from day to day, it creates a bit of a fear in me, and I begin to hold on to it instead of actually use it. And that's what we want to see. We want to see it being used as a currency, not just as, a speculative investment, which is where that's the direction it's gone. And that's a worry, where it should be people on the ground in the streets transferring assets back and forth, because it puts the power essentially with them, which I think was initially where it was headed. And I just think it's taken a bit of a turn, and there needs to be some course correction where that's concerned.
But well, we're all keeping our eye on it. That's for certain. Go on, Crypto C.
Yeah. I think it's like a vicious cycle in that you need more adoption to get more stability, and the more instability you have, the less adoption you will have. So at the moment, we've got instability, and it's actually slowing down adoption. It's like Douglas said, it's slowing people, it's stopping them from wanting to spend their Bitcoin. I don't want to spend my Bitcoin now because I'm hoping that in a year's time it will be worth twice what it is now, and I can get twice as much for my money. And that's where you need platforms like Vendible to come along and actually change that by giving some more adoption.
This show is brought to you by PivX, private instant verified transactions. With its groundbreaking zero coin staking and masternodes, PivX is the top privacy currency. Feel free to trade some on Binance or Bittrex, and for more information, go to www.pivx.org.
Well, Douglas, tell us a bit more about the Vendible platform and what inspired it.
Yeah, it came about as an attempt to create an easier path for people to start using cryptocurrencies. Because my wife is a perfect example. She's a social media user. She uses marketplaces online. She's computer literate, but at this point, would she ever use crypto? No, because in her opinion, it's just too much work. It's too many hoops for her to jump through. And it's just, there's an uncertainty like we talked about. And so we're building Vendible out. It's kind of like a bridge where merchants and consumers, they can come together on one platform. They can trade goods and services in a way that feels natural and easy with cryptocurrency. And that's really our goal. I want people to look at Vendible and say, oh yeah, I like this. This is actually fun, and this is easy, and this is the way money should work. And we're going to put things in place where just right off the bat, from fiat to crypto, you can start moving, you can start testing the waters, and you can start to begin to feel safe with these transactions and what you're doing. So we want to be the on-ramp where people start in their cryptocurrency journey.
Yeah, and one of the aims is a route towards decentralization. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. So obviously the currencies we're using are decentralized, and our governance system is decentralized, and we're building everything out modular so that as the space matures, we can start to release things in a more decentralized manner. But because we want to make it so easy, it's now a hybrid in between that centralized and decentralized world. But the governance system is something that I'm really proud of. We're setting everything up on the Aragon system. Our founders are essentially a governance council, and for us, this is going live next week, and it's really going to be great to see how this plays out, because we're actually going to help build this empowerment space for organizations since we're early adopters. Having the ability for an organization to have complete transparency over all the aspects of their operation and let those people invested in that company see this and help steer the ship, it's really pretty exciting. And coming from the corporate world, it's something I never saw, even at the management level. Everything was in a silo, and you couldn't see out past that. And so having this type of, system to see what is happening and be able to make these really informed decisions is going to be exciting.
And Crypto C, is this something you can see being absolutely massive, and something that when we look back, we think, how did we live without it?
Yeah, certainly. For me, it's all about harnessing the group mind. So it's all well and good having a company where you've got 10 experts. and let's say 20,000 stakeholders. But what something like Vendible will do is it will turn those 20,000 stakeholders into people who can have a meaningful input to what the company actually does. So from those 20,000 stakeholders, you may find another 5 or 6 experts who can really help to improve the quality of the decisions that are made. And I think this way of doing things, this kind of open sourced way of not only sharing code, but also gathering information and developing consensus amongst the stakeholders, I think this is the way forward for companies, because it just leads to companies that are both agile with, especially this hybrid that Vendible have got. They're both agile, but at the same time, they're very, very powerful because they can pull data from a very large user base. So for me, it's a massive deal. It's a giant step.
And Douglas, I suppose this would, I mean, Vendible would have to be an open source, wouldn't it?
The governance system is going to be open source, and a lot of our platform integrations are going to be. Some of the background that handles transactions initially will not until we go fully decentralized, just because we need to have the security of the users and the merchants in mind. But yeah, the ultimate goal is to have it completely open sourced. So it's just a balancing act of making sure that you know, we don't put anybody at risk by doing that.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And there's something that we ask all of our guests, Douglas, and so far, Crypto C, we never get we always get a bit of a laugh at this one, because no one can answer this question. We kind of accept that. Is, where do you see crypto being in 12 months from now?
I actually have some thoughts on that. So because I see big corporations all over the place coming in to the space, trying to claim the space and trying to own the space. A lot of what is going on in my area, my neck of the woods, the people in my networks are being approached by the big organizations wanting developers, trying to collaborate together to have this decentralized technology in their centralized systems. And it's something that, you know, wasn't done 2 years ago. You know, we in Memphis, we have the FedEx World Headquarters, and they are in a working partnership with UPS and other freight carriers to create a one decentralized freight monitoring ledger. So these are direct competitors that are stepping in and decentralizing what they're doing because they see the value in sharing that information. And I think they said, what was it? I don't know if I'm going to remember the term that they used, but it was some sort of competitive partnership, I believe. So it's really striking to see the big pushes that are being made from some really big names, you know, IBM, Oracle, things like that.
But it's definitely the clearest answer we've had, isn't it, Crypto C, in all of these interviews we've had? Yeah,
it is, and it's a great time to be at one of these big corporations that are making these steps, because I think they're learning a lot all the time. They're trying to, and I've heard about these sorts of agreements that they're having. They're trying to put blockchain kind of inside their own houses between themselves in maybe groups of 8 to 10 like large companies. And I think what they'll soon realize is that just won't work. So what will probably end up happening is for them to actually secure the actual ledger itself, it's no good having 10 or so nodes, or even those 10 or so people controlling 1,000 nodes each. So what they'll end up having to do is they'll end up having to come back to the grassroots, come back to these startup projects, which are probably currently going through ICO and no one knows about, but are having a proper decentralized network be set up, which is truly secure. And they're going to have to go to them and partner with them and then bring their corporate knowledge to these kind of grassroots startups. And I think those are the types of things that we'll start to see once these big companies realize that they can't really do it alone.
Well, did you see this one for both of you? Did you see there was a story that a big coffee chain were going to accept cryptocurrency for their products, but then they've since denied that and said that it was the story, wasn't factually correct. Did you any of you two see that one?
No,
I did not see that.
Because we've talked about it, haven't we, Crypto C, about, because the first podcast on Token TV Plus we did, I said, how long will it be until places like, major supermarkets and such like are accepting your cryptocurrency as opposed to your pounds and dollars. And there was a story in the last few weeks. I think maybe in the next podcast, Crypto C will go into that one a little bit more detail to try and get a bit more information about it. But there was certainly a story that they were going to start accepting it, but then they came out and said no, that's that's not actually the case. So we'll look further into that one for the next one. But Douglas, where can people go to find out more about yourself and your product?
Well, currently you can join the Discord channel for Vendible, and you can always reach me through my LinkedIn page, or you could email me directly at doug@vendible.org.
Right, fantastic. Crypto C, is there anything else we can speak to Douglas about? Because it's been absolutely fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'd just like to probably one last question is to ask him what he thinks of current cryptocurrency based marketplaces, and what sorts of are there any crypto marketplaces now which he would suggest people could use? Are there any that are actually up and running?
There are several that are up and running, and at the moment I can't really recommend any because I've gotten on all of them and there's not enough demand at the moment on the platforms. So things have to be done to get buyers and sellers there. We have to build a serious push to move products onto these platforms because I want to see them all succeed. There's no reason why the space can't be filled up because it's such a good use case for blockchain technology. But when I go and one of these post ICO marketplaces and I download the app and there's only 12 products on there, it's worrying. So it needs to start by building a user base first and then bringing these products in and letting them see, wow, how easy was this?
Yeah,
that should be the goal.
Also in the Vendible Discord, because I've spent some time there in the Vendible Discord, I've heard people speak about things like plugins to port over Amazon listings and to port over eBay listings. So hopefully people who have got listings there can immediately copy their listings over to Vendible and things like that to get the marketplace growing a bit quicker than some of these that I've seen are growing. Because I've seen the same thing when I've looked at crypto-based marketplaces, that they're like ghost towns for the most part.
Yeah, the easiest way to get a user base quickly is platform integration. So if we work directly with Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or LetGo, which LetGo has raised almost $900 million, and and they don't actually have a revenue model. It's insane. So having a revenue model in place that, can integrate with these other marketplaces will really bring in a lot of action quickly.
Yeah.
Well, Douglas, it's been an absolute pleasure. Douglas Broughton, aka Brought, there with me, Tom White, and Crypto C for Token TV. Plus, if it's okay with you, Douglas, we'll check in a few months' time and see how Vendible's getting on, if that's all right with you.
Yes, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent. Douglas, thank you again. And as ever, Crypto C, thank you as well.
Thank you so much, Tom.
This show is brought to you by PivX, private instant verified transactions. With its groundbreaking zero coin staking and masternodes, PivX is the top privacy currency. Feel free to trade some on Binance or Bittrex. And for more information, go to www.pivex.org.